Hey peeps, I'm Rick Roberts, and this is Rick Roberts Life, the podcast. Today we have a new episode coming up. I'm going to be focusing on the hidden difficulties. Now I know a lot of us, we decided we want to do something new. We want to use our skills, we want to use our talents for ourselves. We want to get in the driver's seat and no longer be a passenger. But we do not realize, or we do not remember, that there are a lot of hidden difficulties that are around different corners that we have to experience. We can't dodge them, we can't avoid them, and for some of us, we were surprised by it, we were hit by it, and we feel a little bit discouraged. And I don't want you to feel discouraged. I want you to know that these are all part of the process. Everyone goes through the ups and the downs. The only difference is that some people choose to stick it out and a lot of people choose to quit. And that's not what you're going to do. You're not going to quit. You're going to hang in there and you're going to complete what it is that you're setting out to do. So don't give up. Don't feel overwhelmed. Don't allow that negative voice to rule your thoughts. If you feel like you need some encouragement, hopefully this podcast will give you that. So please stay tuned. We're going to start this in just a couple seconds. I'd love to be able to share this encouragement for you. I'm Rick Roberts, and thank you so much for your time. Hey peeps, I'm Rick Roberts, and this is Rick Roberts Life, the podcast where we talk about my faith, my thoughts, my life. And today is Thursday Thought, and my thought for you today is hidden difficulties. Now, my son is an amazing boy. I love him so much. Ever since I was small, I prayed for my firstborn to be a boy so I can name him after me, and I achieved that. My son is named Richard Dean Roberts III. He has been an amazing baby boy. When he had all his shots and everything, he was very resilient. He was always so pleasant, and he had like 6 teeth come in at the same time, and he, a little fussy, but he was still very pleasant. I couldn't complain. Just all of a sudden, he's just been having a high temperature, and he's been very fussy lately. And he's getting to a point where he's just, he gets very upset, he gets very fussy. And that is a hidden difficulty. When it comes to parenting, there are lots of little hidden difficulties that come to raising a life, for a first time. Like, I didn't know that he would have the weird sleeping patterns when he first came home from the hospital. So I did the whole Batman shift where I was up all night with him whilst he was, trying to sleep. And I would sleep in the early parts of the morning to the afternoon. And just some other little things that I didn't know was going to happen. But I had to learn to cope with these hidden difficulties. And so I say this bit to help encourage you, because whenever you're developing something that's going to take life, something that's going to mature and grow into something amazing, you have to expect these hidden difficulties to come along with it. A few years ago, I was helping to develop this program we have called the Prehend Lifestyle Center, and we were so excited. It was a very new concept, trying to mix the church with the fitness to be an outreach program for the community, to encourage them and to help them feel just loved on without being too preachy. And we didn't know how it was going to be, because all the other programs we did up until that point, they didn't have a good turnout at all. We'd have like maybe, one person that would come out. Over the past, 5 years I was going to the church, we didn't have a lot of people going to those programs. And so for this one, we were like, what, even if we just get like, a couple people that come out, we'll be grateful. And we just want to be able to encourage and touch the life of at least one person. That's what we want to do. And, there were days where, sometimes I didn't have anybody come to the class. It was a new concept. People were a bit like, we'll see. We're not sure about who you are. And on those days, I felt a little bit low. I felt like, am I wasting my time? Should I continue to keep this going? But I didn't listen to that voice. What I did was I continued to keep my head down and to keep working the plan that I had there. Little did I know that was a hidden difficulty that I had to go through. Everyone who is going to develop something that is going to take life has to go through these little hidden difficulties. It's called paying your dues to be able to know how to appreciate when things go right. You have to know what it looks like when things are not going the way that they should, or when things are a little bit dry, and how to hang in there and have the patience to keep moving forward. That whole thing about having the patience to hang in there, you can't be taught that. You have to experience that. You have to, learn through on-the-job training. And that's been a lot of my training for, motivational speaking, preaching, photography, fitness. I had to learn on the job. I sat in some of the classrooms for some of the stuff, but a lot of my main knowledge, a lot of my wisdom comes from just working in the field and seeing how the patterns of life, how the seasons of life affect each and every area. Nothing I thought was going to worked out 100% the way I planned it. But I did have the patience and I had the drive to keep working that plan. And I want to encourage you that just because you're having some pushback, just because you have some hidden difficulties, doesn't mean that you're not supposed to do that great thing you're working on. It doesn't mean that it's not meant for you. It doesn't mean that you need to scrap everything. It may mean you need to have patience, and you may need to just keep working the plan, because in time it will mature and develop for you. With Richie, we're working on his ABCs, his 1, 2, 3s, and what I try to do is I try to expose him to the numbers. 1, 2, 3 up to 10, sometimes up to 11. I'll work my way up to 20, just so that way he gets used to hearing that number. And as he hears those numbers, he's then being exposed to a little bit more. And then I'll have it where you have the numbers and you have the words of the numbers, in letter form, 1, O-N-E. He's able to then see that and then connect those together. Same thing with the ABCs. We do the phonics, we mix in some actual objects with the letters, and he's being exposed to that. And as he's being exposed to that, in time, he's going to then be able to associate what each thing is connected to. And as he grows and matures, he's going to be able to become an independent person where he'll be able to do great things on his own. He'll have some assistance from me when he needs it, but he'll be able to stand on his own 2 feet because I would have had the patience to help develop him and bring him into maturity. And that's the same thing for your thing that you're working on. It needs to have time to mature. It needs to have time to grow. And as it grows, it's going to go through these different points that it needs to go to for maturity. When Richie was a baby, he needed to go through developmental leaps, for his brain. And so he would be a little bit more fussy. He'd be a little bit more out of his structure for his sleeping patterns. And so I needed to be patient to know how to handle those leaps. And it helped when Shun could say, this app says he should be going into his developmental leap within the next few days, within the next couple of weeks. And then I could say, okay, I just need to hang in there. This is not going to last forever. He's going through his leap. Once he goes through his leap, things will get back to some form of normalcy and we'll be fine. And that's what I want you to do, is to learn how to see the patterns, learn how to see the different seasons with each thing that you're doing, so that way you can say, okay, I just need to hang in there. I don't need to chop and change right now. I need to wait and ride this out, because this is going through a developmental leap, and as it develops, it will work itself out. Sometimes you do need to change certain things. You need to say, okay, this approach isn't working. I've tried that. We've given it time. Here is the next thing I'm going to do to be able to move it forward. And then you're going to wait and do that as well after you've started that change, so you can monitor and see the progress of that. You're going to have pushback. You're going to have times where you feel elated because it's working, and you're going to have times when you're in the valleys because it seems like no one's there, no one supports it, and it's just you. That is part of the process. Sometimes people just don't talk about it, but it's all part of the process. And as you go through the process, as you go through the mountaintops, the valleys, as you're able to have a lot of people be excited about what you're doing, and then have it where it's just you who are excited by what you're doing, you'll find that you are living the actual dream, you will find that this thing that was so small that needed your hands all over it to protect it, to nurture it, is growing, and it will be able to sustain something for you and your family and then some. You just need to have the patience, and you need to have the wisdom to realize that it's going to take time to grow, but when it does grow, hopefully it will be healthy enough and strong enough to be able to stand on its own 2 feet and to do wonderful things without the need of you. And you can be proud of it because you put the work in and you've seen how it's grown. But you need to be patient. You need to expect these hidden difficulties, and you need to stop putting so much pressure on yourself, because you're not going to get everything right. You're going to make mistakes. And as you make these mistakes, it's not the end of the world. You just realize that you just learned another way on how not to do that. Okay? I'm just laughing at some of the memories I have of some things I did, which I was like, you know what? Maybe I could have done better. I didn't have to do it that way. And that's how it is. Like, when you're a parent, you make loads of little mistakes. You're saying, oh, what was I thinking? Why did I act like that? I could have done this and it would have been better. But as long as you're doing the best you can, and you're loving the best you can, God says, love covers over a multitude of sins, of ignorance, of all these different things. And so just continue to do your best, work hard, do your best to learn from your mistakes. There's a lot of hidden difficulties that will come from it. You have to expect that. Okay? Believe in yourself and believe in the God who made you. He gave you the talents and the skills you have for a reason. He gave you the passions and the desires in your heart for a reason, and they will grow and mature into a purpose for you. So keep your head up and keep moving forward. I'm Rick Roberts, and you stay classy. Bye.